Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 4 of What Did We Just Watch, the show where middle-aged men meticulously break down movies that nobody cares about. Spoiler alert, today, some of you might care about this movie. What did we watch today?
Today we watched Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. We decided to treat ourselves for the last episode was so bad. We decided to bring back an old classic that was a little bit better than what we're normally used to.
And it fits the theme of the Halloween episode. We didn't dress up today, but it's a horror movie from 1995. Obviously, Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. If you're not familiar, the old show is an anthology show, right?
Yeah, they started out on the TV screen, and then they kind of branched out into a couple movies.
Yeah, and like that show was never like overly like scary, I guess.
No, it was more campy.
Yeah, campy and like horror themed. And sometimes it was, but this movie is definitely, it's not like scary at all. It's just like a horror theme pretty much.
Yeah. I can kind of relate to, Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of a campy, funny comedy horror.
Yeah, it's definitely like not quite as a comedy as like Army of Darkness, but it's close. Like it's really close.
There's some funny scenes, and they knew what they were doing. They put those scenes in there specifically, the short little quips.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of one-liners which we'll go over and I'll show and stuff. But the general synopsis of the film is this. It starts off with this stranger driving through, and he's being chased by this other guy. He's like a bounty hunter, and you don't really know what's going on for a while. And you just know like something crazy is about to go down.
Yeah, something's not right.
So he ends up cornering him in this old decommissioned church, which is now like a hotel, brothel, hostel, something sort of.
I don't know. It looks like an old church, but it's only got like 5 rooms, I think, maybe 6.
Yeah, and the way that this is lining up is like it's a prophecy where there has to be 7 people in a place, and it has to line up with. There's a spoiler alert. Is the guy who's being chased is a demon knight, and he's being chased by a demon, like archdemon lord type guy, played by Billy Zane.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good time to cut in the middle of the synopsis. The cast in this is awesome.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people in that you'll recognize from later on. Maybe not so much when this movie came out.
Yeah.
But later on in life, a lot of these actors, made something for themselves. Who was right from the very beginning?
William Sadler plays the main protagonist, and then Billy Zane is the main demon lord guy.
Yeah, which plays a great demon lord, by the way.
Everyone's favorite sweetheart, Jada Pinkett Smith, is she plays one of the other heroes in the movie. And there's Thomas Hayden Church, Dick Miller. Like the cast is like top notch. And maybe like Corey said not at the time, but like. Looking back on it, it's an outstanding cast.
Yeah.
And anyway, so Billy Zane is chasing William Sadler's character. He's a demon, and Hadler's character is a demon knight. So basically, the way it goes is they're like the demon knights are protecting this key, which holds the blood of Christ and other martyrs, and it's the best weapon against the demons.
Yeah. So there's been an eternal fight since the earth was. Created.
Yeah.
And God had made 7 keys to the universe, to the light, and locked away the demons in the darkness.
Yeah, and the demons have got 6 of them.
Yep.
And we're down to the last one, folks. It's coming down to the wire.
Yep.
If the demon gets it, it's total darkness. So they trap them in this old decommissioned church, and the shit hits the fan, and it's basically a survival thing.
It's a roller coaster ride of bad decisions, if you ask me.
Yeah, and like this movie, it's seriously one of my favorites. It's like it's nothing like it's not groundbreaking, but it's got great practical effects, like a lot of good comedy. It's played straight. It's campy, but none of the characters know it except for Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Everyone else plays it straight. The acting is good. The practical effects are awesome. And it's just a real fun movie.
Yeah, they knew what they were making when they were making the movie. They weren't trying to make a high dollar, high budget, Martin Scorsese film.
Yeah, they weren't sniffing their own farts. Speaking of sniffing, Whiskey just walked in the room, so you might hear him sniffing and sorting, but don't let that distract you.
It's okay. We get bonus points for having him in here as a third guest.
Yeah. What's the first thing that you think of or that popped up in your mind about this movie?
Probably the best scene for me is when he finally reveals himself to be a demon after killing the sheriff.
Yeah.
And, he's kept up this disguise as this, semi-bounty hunter, private investigator looking after Booker, which is, what was his name?
Breaker.
Breaker, that's what it is, not Booker.
Sadler.
Yeah, Sadler's character. And so he joins forces with the cops because the cops are unknowing that, this guy's a demon. He's just kind of playing along with them. And they won't give him the key. They're trying to arrest him. And so he finally says, I'm tired of this. And he winds up, punching a hole through the main sheriff's face.
Yeah, just rips his head completely.
Yeah, just takes his head completely off. And of course, everybody freaks out. And he reveals to them that, he's a demon lord. And he decides he's going to bring some minions in by cutting his hand and throwing this green goop on the ground.
Yeah, it's like demon blood, and it spawns a bunch of like lesser demons.
Yeah. But I cannot go through and recite the phrase, but it's definitely a great little phrase that he says when he throws his cowboy hat off and the duster, because he's playing like this cowboy and he's just tired of playing this cowboy thing.
Yeah, that was his cover, was playing a cowboy bounty hunter. So let's just put it up right here.
Humans! You're not worth the flesh you're printed on! Fuck this cowboy shit! You fucking ho-dunk, po-dunk, well then there, motherfuckers! All you have to do is give me the goddamn key!
See what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty funny, and that's one of the first things where it's going to be. There's actually a joke, several jokes earlier about when the cat jumps on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's put that one up.
Yeah, let's watch that one, because that's definitely a classic. I'm definitely going to use that.
You hurry up and finish, and I'll take care of dessert.
Oh, don't worry. Cleo knows better than to eat that slop.
God damn it. Get that pussy off the table. I meant the cat.
Between those two jokes, you see like the comedy is like a real strong element of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene's cool. Like the first thing that really pops in my head of this movie is just, I already said it once, but it's just fun. It's a good time. Sometimes with horror movies, at least with me, like if they're like too intense, like it's like tedious to watch.
Yeah, too bloody, too gory. They're substituting gore for suspense.
Yeah, and that's all fine too. But if it's too intense, or if it's too like sadistically gory, I don't know. I'm here for a good time. This movie is. It's not like you feel bad for some of the characters, but you don't like. It doesn't hurt you. It's like a viewing experience that's gonna like hurt your soul or anything. It's just fun.
There's a few of the characters that you're looking at it afterwards. You're going, yeah, he deserved that for sure.
That's Thomas Hayden Church's character. That's another thing that jumps
Roach.
out. Roach, yeah.
You can tell by the character's name that he's gonna not die well.
He plays like a big giant scumbag.
Oh yeah, dirt bag, trying to get out of it any way he can. He was willing to sell anybody out, do anything he needs to. I mean, the one scene where he decides that him and his girlfriend at the time is going to go outside and just leave, he winds up taking her and just throwing her out the door in the way of this, lesser demon, and him running inside.
Yeah, he just like throws her so he can get away.
Yeah,
she ends up getting away anyways, but
it's just blatant.
Yeah, the character's so awesome. I guess this would be a decent time to go over the other characters. There's the Billy Zane, the main demon, William Sadler, the demon knight, Roach, the jerk, Jada Pinkett Smith's everybody's sweetheart.
Lapdog.
Yeah, she
in the movie.
She's like a ex-con, and she's on work release, and so she's working at her aunt's house or something.
I think so. I think they're related in some way.
And she's like basically a slave at this place.
Yeah.
And like her aunt or whoever it is making her do all these chores and stuff, and she's like complaining about it. Stop, buddy. And so then there's who's next? Is the
you got the two sheriffs, where the sheriff dies really quick in the very beginning, and then you got the deputy that kind of hangs around for a little while.
He's like Barney, like a retarded Barney Fife, basically.
Yeah, just doesn't really do anything, kind of the bumbling idiot through the whole entire thing until the very last part.
Yeah, he redeems himself. And then there's
the aunt.
The aunt who's like she takes no nonsense.
Oh yeah,
She's a
take no
up,
shit.
Like hard woman. And then there's Dick Miller plays the old drunk man.
Oh yeah, Uncle Willie.
Yeah, Uncle Willie.
Yeah, and then the kid.
The kid, yeah.
Don't know what the name of the kid was. I can't remember. Not a very memorable character.
Yeah, he just plays the basic kid. There's some few ancillary characters, but that's the main cast. So yeah, that's the basic cast. What's like something else that pops up when having just seen it before?
I think the total lack of believability that these people have, that this demon knight is doing what he's doing, even after what they see. Throughout the whole beginning, they don't believe him what's going on. He's trying to tell them to, do something or to stay safe and to keep them alive. Yeah. And they keep questioning him on every turn. At one point, this lady's got a cat, and they're looking for the cat, and the cat finally shows up. Well, the cat can be possessed just like any other human can. Yeah. And so they want to test him out. So a test just involves taking this key and, touching it to whatever. And if there's a demon present, it'll hurt the demon and it'll, make it burn and whatever. But it doesn't do anything to anybody else. Yeah. If you're normal, it's just like doing this.
Yeah, it literally does nothing.
But yet they're fighting him left and right on, testing people.
Yeah, it's like, how could it be this cat or this kid or whatever? Like,
yeah.
It's so stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then this last, course it all the way to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, as they're getting picked off one by one, there's at one point, 2 people left, and then she's still, questioning it.
Yeah. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Or why can't we do this?
It's mainly coming from Jada Pinkett's character, but they all kind of do it too.
Yeah.
It's like, and then at one point, he even explains, he's been doing this for, the key gives a naturally long life.
Yeah.
So he's, been doing it for, 70, 80 years.
He received the key in 1917 during World War I.
And he was already 40 years old.
Right.
So 40 plus, 40 to 90, so another 80 years. So he's 120.
He definitely would have been a lot older. And he's been around the block fighting, this long. And
Yeah.
so they also received the memories of everybody before that was a demon knight.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of starts out with the blood of Jesus Christ, and that's where the first memories start.
Yeah, they don't basically
they don't say it, but they have it nailed. The guy nailed to the cross.
Well, Jesus is on the cross along with the other two, and so the demons. This guy has the key. They don't explain how he gets it, and the demons come after him. And,
and he reaches for it.
He goes to give it, and then basically God strikes him with lightning.
That's right. He zaps his ass.
And then so he's like, don't give that to the demons. And then blood drips on the demons, and it burns it, and that's how he knows. And he fills it up, and from there it's passed down and passed down.
Yeah, but really, you only get 2 sets of memories. You get that guy's memories, and then you get the World War I memories.
This would make a fantastic sequel, this IP, or even a good series.
Oh yeah, if they took this and Netflix and ran with it,
each season was a new story.
Oh yeah, and you could different time frame. I mean, if you figure when you start where Jesus was put on the cross, and from now, how many decades of that, how many things of how many places can you go?
Problem was it wasn't popular enough when it didn't make enough money.
No, probably not. And it would be a throwback nowadays.
It did have a small theatrical run, but no one really knew about it. And I think me and this guy and our other friend Jimmy, we rented it one night at one of our sleepovers. We were in 4 movies, and this was just the 4th one. Let's just grab one more thing, just
one more,
make sure we have enough. We ended up not watching it until the next day, and so it was just, we weren't even that excited about it. We watched it and we were like, oh, this was awesome.
Yeah, we were rolling. It was hilarious.
It's very similar to From Dusk Till Dawn, Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
So we ate it up. It's a bunch of boobs and a bunch of violence.
Oh, yeah.
We loved it.
The comedy was there.
I wish it had made more money because it would make a great series or having sequels and stuff like that.
Even nowadays, I think if Netflix would pick it up, it does have enough of a cult following, I think, that you would have at least 1 season made. Yeah. Maybe 2. I mean, depending on what they did with it, I'd watch it.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. All the crap that Netflix puts out, they can easily make this. They make a bunch of crap that's, obviously not going to get a bunch of views. I'm sure this would.
Oh, yeah. Even for nostalgia reasons, I think people would watch it because there's a cult following for this, just like some of the other ones.
Yeah, the jokes are cool too. We talked about a little bit before, the one with the cat we showed, and then the head punching, And then there's like the cowboy like flip out when he's like, I'm tired of being a cowboy.
Po dunk 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 dunk.
And then there's what's the other one that like at one point they keep getting like trapped in smaller portions of the hotel or whatever. And at one point they're just to the balcony and the demons are finally able to get up there and he's like, all right, time to play. And then like they shoot him right in the eye. He's like,
maybe not. Yeah.
And
awesome. Then falls down. Yeah.
Well, what's the next thing that really pops out to you on this one?
Probably the ending. They did leave the ending open. I mean, they were definitely thinking about making a second one or a sequel or something because the way they left it open. So, as Dustin said, Jada Pinkett, she becomes the new Demon Knight. She gets the key, refills it with the guy's blood, and the last thing you see is her getting on a bus. Well, she takes the key and takes the blood and makes a seal at the doorway to the bus and gets on and goes. A little bit while later, you see another guy, pretty of an ominous character.
Yeah, definitely.
Just standing out in the middle of nowhere when the bus stops to pick him up. He just walks up to the door, looks at the seal. Because it is an invisible seal, so you can't really see it. But he knows something's there and just tells the bus driver, I'll catch the next one. And then watches her character, drive by on the bus and just continues walking, humming. So they definitely left it open for a sequel.
Oh, definitely. And like this, we're kind of skipping around, but like this movie, it's like the story's good and it's tight. It's not like it doesn't make any sense, but it's not so much important as all you need to know is demons are sieging this thing. So we're going to be jumping around. But yeah, the ending is that ending is cool, but like the end fight is kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
it falls apart a little bit when like William Sadler's character's gone because Jada Pinkett. Maybe it's like hindsight of like knowing what she became, like how everyone hates her. But even I remember filming this before, like her character kind of sucks because maybe it's like questioning like these obvious things that are happening.
Yeah, I mean she was kind of a whiny pain in the ass through the whole entire thing, and she just gets this new power kind of thrust upon her. But yeah, once he dies and it now goes to her, it just seems like it's filler.
Yeah.
There's about a 15-minute scene.
Yeah, where it's like cat and mouse, but it's really only like two things happen. She covers himself in William Sadler's blood because he's the new martyr. So his blood is now like poisonous to the demons.
Yeah.
And she like grabs Billy Zane's arm and it burns him, and then later on he wraps her in a shower curtain and washes her off, and then she secretly drinks some blood so she can spit on him to kill him. Right. And that's like all that happens, but it's like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, but the problem is once you see her drink the blood and he pulls her out of the bathtub, you would have thought that she would have just, spit on him and the movie would have been over. But instead, it goes into this whole love scene of how Billy Zane's character's in love with her and wants to bring her over. And they have this big dance scene and everything else. And finally, after about 10 minutes, she spits the blood on him and he just bursts into flames. And you kind of get to see a really cool shot of the demon, what he actually looks like without his human form. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I think they did a good job with that because if you saw that throughout the movie, like it would be less and less impactful.
Yeah.
But a little like the 5 seconds you see it, it's like pretty ominous and like scary looking pretty much.
Oh yeah, they did a really great job. I do have to commend them that this was not a day and age where you had a lot of computer effects. There's a few that we did notice.
Yeah.
They did some trick shots with maybe some compositing and some layering where they had some front to back stuff going on.
Yeah.
But this was not a big computer CGI thing. Everything that you see in this movie is pretty much practical.
Yeah, and since like at least we consider this movie so good, we can't really pick it apart like we could the ones before. Like there's not like a lot of like ridiculous stuff that happens that's hilarious, but it's mainly just the jokes, which we'll show you some of those and stuff like that. But
it's the quip one-liners that I think make the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like
Billy Zane's character makes it. Everybody else is just kind of cannon fodder for the demons.
Yeah.
But Billy Zane's character is it's kind of a smart ass throughout the whole entire thing. He knows he's better than everybody and he can kill anybody anytime he wants to type thing. Yeah, and he just plays off of it.
And he's so nonchalant about it. Like
yeah.
He'll have this like witty banter like you were mentioning while we were watching it, and like he knows like everything's going in his favor, so it's only a matter of time or so he thinks. and he just like the character is having fun with it. And
Yeah.
Billy Zane obviously is too with the role, but it's really good. Like this episode, we're not going to be crapping on this movie at all. It's like it's just a good movie, and
We are a little partial.
yeah, we're partial for sure because it's not like high art by any means, but it's very entertaining. Did we talk about the nerdy guy? I don't remember if we talked about him.
Oh, the postman. Was he the postmaster general or something like that? Or he was kind of high up in the post office?
I think he was just a regular guy because he got
Was he?
fired by the post.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He had this little arc because he didn't last very long, but he had this arc where he's like, "Yeah, I lost my job because they said I was stealing mail,"
Yeah.
and then basically he got fired for it, and but it turns out later on they find this like secret attic which he forgot of the main.
Yeah. They forgot
ants
that
or
it was
whatever.
up there. And everybody's mail that
Yeah.
they said was stolen or disappeared was up there. Come to find out, he really was stealing the mail, and they do the whole trope of the guy's a postman and he's going to go postal because they find a trunk and there's a couple of Uzis and some handguns and a whole bunch of great stuff in there, but there's only one problem.
Yeah, no bullets.
He has no ammunition. I mean, this could have totally changed the whole arc of the movie.
Yeah.
It could have been just a slaughter for these demons.
Yeah.
Because there is ways to kill the demons. Come to find out that apparently the glowing green eyes, if you puncture them, it releases the tortured soul of the
Yes.
demon. And so they can be killed. So they did manage to kill 3 or 4 of them in the very beginning and then kind
A
of
few
sporadically here and there. So it would have been great if they did get a couple of those Uzis with some full mags, but it didn't turn out that way. It was kind of one of those things where you find out it's like, oh, great, and then it was just a letdown.
Yeah, it's kind of like this movie would be even better if they had that, but I did kind of like how they do his little tease.
Yeah.
So, but the whole postman thing, you couldn't make that now because everyone's so sensitive to mass shooting, which is totally reasonable. But back then, and it was like there was this phenomenon where
Going postal
workers-
was a thing. I mean, that's where it came from.
Yeah, the job was so stressful that these guys would go and shoot up their post offices, and it was like a joke. People would say, "Oh, they're going postal."
Yeah.
So you couldn't make that now, which is whatever. But another thing, what you couldn't do now is this movie. What I love about it, and people complain about it now, is the strong female character.
Yeah.
People on one side claim that there's not enough strong female characters, and on the other side they say they're forced. And that's kind of where I line up. I think that a lot of the strong female characters are forced in this one. But this movie, it has one of the strongest female characters that's purely organic.
Yeah,
Why don't you talk about the ant?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the Ant's character. She was a badass from the very beginning. I mean, she was a complete hard ass. Didn't take no shit.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, she pulls out a shotgun, and they're like, well, where'd you get that at? And she goes, I've had it.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever. It's no big deal for her. And, it's kind of unfortunate. At one point in one of the fights, she loses an arm.
Yeah.
And even though she loses the arm, she's still just as much of a badass. And she goes out like a badass. Kind of remnant of what happened in Aliens with the grenades.
Yeah, with Vasquez.
Yeah, with Vasquez. They actually, in the attic next to these Uzis and everything else, they did find a vest of grenades.
Yeah.
And so she decides that she's going to go out with a bang, literally, and goes downstairs and helps the newfound
deputy.
sheriff deputy that now found a backbone. Unfortunately, he runs out of bullets, and she's down there with him.
They're being overwhelmed.
And they're being overrun, basically, by 4 or 5 of these demons.
Yeah.
And decides to take them all with them as much as possible. So I have to give it to the Ant. She went out in a great way when she was a strong character all the way through it. And, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't forced. It felt very organic. We've all met these kind of ladies. They just take no shit. They're not going to be pushed around. And they didn't have to make it to where she was physically beating up 5 fit men.
Yeah.
20 years younger.
She didn't have to prove anything.
She didn't she was commanding everybody.
Yeah.
Her and William Sadler, she was because everyone knew her, so she was keeping everyone else in line.
She was Big Mama of the hotel. She was the owner of the hotel.
Yeah, and it was totally believable. It wasn't forced. It wasn't 100-pound girl beating up trained fighters.
Yeah. I think one of the best parts in the movie, too, relating to her, is that,
Oh, yeah.
when she loses her arm, the head demon come later to entice her to turn over this key, says, "Hey, I'll give you your arm back." And the next thing you see is it cuts to her, and she's got her stump, and she just does this. And he's like, "Is that a yes?" And she goes, "No, that's me flipping you off."
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just that kind of a badass mentality she has.
That's another good thing you brought up is like throughout the movie, the demons are locked out because I don't know if we actually mentioned it until the end, but you can take a little bit of blood and seal an entryway, and then it makes a little thing, and the demons can't come through. So the demons are locked out, but the way they can get in is they can telepathically seduce you.
Right.
So, like Corey said, they were seducing her to give her arm back. But they ended up seducing the prostitute character.
Yeah, she was turned first.
Yep. She was turned first, and they seduced her by saying, because she didn't feel loved, so they said, you know, I'll make you feel loved. Yep. So she turns into a demon, and that's when the arm gets ripped off, and then the postal guy gets killed.
Yeah, postal guy gets killed.
Because he had a crush on her. When.
Yeah. Was it a crush, or was it more of a lustful thing going on?
I think it was kind of both.
Yeah. Well, no, because he did say in the note that they found with all the guns that him and her was going to run away together.
Oh, maybe. Either way, he was interested in her, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was...
and of course, she's not at all to him.
Yeah, she liked him, but not like that. The one we liked the most when we were 14 is when they seduced the old man.
Oh, yeah, the topless titty bar.
Yeah, there was, like... And they kind of get these people when they're, like, kind of off by themselves, solitude.
Yeah.
So
at their weakest,
and it teleports him in his mind into this topless titty bar. Basically,
yeah, basically like a tiki bar type deal.
Yeah, they had to be like playmates.
Like, oh yeah, something.
Like, totally beautiful women, topless in bikini bottoms, and like the main demon, he was playing a bartender, and he's like seduced, like because he was a drunk, obviously the old man. Yep. So he's like seducing with the women and the drugs, and then that obviously
didn't take much either.
No.
If I remember right, he was there for all of maybe a couple seconds. He's like, "Hand me the booze," and starts pounding. Yeah. And of course, once he drinks the booze, that means he's agreeing to the seduction, and he turned.
Yeah, and that was definitely our favorite scene back in the day.
Oh yeah, you mean back in the day, right? It still is a good scene.
And he tries to get Jada Pinkett's character because she wants to be free and she wants to travel the world.
Yeah, because she was previously locked up. So
yeah, and she feels locked up now being on the work release. And she tells him no.
And I don't know. She doesn't really tell him no.
She just doesn't say yes.
Well, she doesn't say yes, but she gets sent on like a little mission to get the key. And she winds up not doing it. She winds up doing the opposite thing and helping out. And by her actions, she's basically telling him to screw off.
Yeah, that's right. And then later on, it actually gets down to William Sadler's character and her.
Right.
Everyone else dies, even the kid. We'll talk about the kid in a second. The kid gets it the worst.
What do you mean the worst gets it the best?
Yeah, the best.
It was actually hilarious.
It was awesome. We're going to just show that scene. We'll talk a little bit about it. But anyways, it's down to those two, and then he's like, and William Sadler is mortally wounded at this point.
Yeah, because the kid stuck his tongue through his chest.
Yeah, kid turns into demon, sticks his tongue through his chest. So he tests her by like before he gets mortally wounded, he tested her to see if she was like pure. He's like, "Oh, did he try to seduce you?" She said, "Yeah," but I said no. Yeah. Because he tells her he wants to pass it on to her. But anyway,
he doesn't have a choice. There's nobody left at that point.
Yeah, that's true. He also said she was the last one. And that's where the kid got seduced. And the way he got seduced, he was reading his comic book the whole time because for some reason he was doing that during this like mortal battle.
Yeah, he had no care of the world for the whole entire thing. Even when they're like people exploding and dying around him, he's up in the attic reading these Tales from the Crypt comic books.
And like. So, and then his comic book comes alive, and it basically, they don't say exactly what he got, but he just gives up. He gives in instantly.
Yeah, all you seen was a set of eyes look at him, and then, like, he starts looking like, and then next thing you know, he's turned.
Yeah, he turns to this big, like, monstrosity, and he has a long tongue. He basically stabs William Sadler's character in the guts and, like, rips them all out or eats them or something.
Yeah, right here in the chest, yeah.
And, the way he gets it's awesome. Why don't you tell him?
So at one point, when they got up there, they used the last bit of blood from the key and create a barrier on a window. And you're kind of thinking, it's like, well, why'd they do that for? There's other windows in there, but why'd they use that one? But they did.
Yeah.
So then they're having this fight scene with the kid. The kid winds up throwing the character against the wall, and then the key goes, flying. And this, puppet. I don't know. Actually, probably not a puppet. It's all probably looks like practical.
Yeah, practical. It's like it was like you could tell there was like legs, so a person's legs.
It was somebody in a mask
Costume,
and costume. Is trying to bumblefuck around and get this key. And so that's when Jada Pickett's character, jumps up on this rafter and basically kicks this demon through the barrier.
Yeah.
Which the barrier isn't like a wall that stops them. They can go through it, but they wind up exploding after they go through it, as you can see here.
Yeah, we'll put it up here. Yeah, so that was awesome. The kid goes out the window, explodes into chunks.
Well, the best part about it is after the kid explodes out the window, all you see is this burning, I want to say Converses or something like that.
Yeah.
This burning Converse just lands on the ground and the camera just stays there for a few seconds, just emphasizing about what just happened.
Yeah, we've seen the movie before. I've seen this movie probably 20 times, and it made me laugh naturally. I wasn't forcing. It was just hilarious.
I knew it was coming, and it still made me laugh.
If one scene can encapsulate the movie, it's that one. That's the tone, the tenor, the content that they were going for, and it's just awesome. So there's some other cool stuff with the.
So let's talk about the effects a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So some of the effects, like we said, they were all practical. I think one of the better ones was when he actually cut his hand and he spreads this green goop on the ground, and of course the green goop then spawns these other lower, lesser demons.
Yeah.
But the great thing about it is I think one of the ways that they actually did this, and we're gonna have to look it up and see if they actually did do it this way, whether we're right or not.
Yeah.
But what it looks like, if you look in slow motion, they actually just had a wax impregnated dummy head, and then they melted it, and then once it melted on the ground, then they just played it in reverse, and it looks like it's being formed and developed from this goop on the ground.
Yeah, because you could see the drips of falling down, and you can see them going back up. And
because there's nothing there when it first starts. It's just a puddle of goop, and then you just see it, materialize into a solid form. And it just looks like they did it in reverse. It was a reverse shot.
Yeah, and to me, and to you too, I'm sure that just looks way better than CGI.
Oh yeah, I mean it looks more real. It kind of reminds me of the shot in Raiders of the Lost Ark. when they look into the tomb and the face melting. Kind of the same thing, where they used the wax heads and made it similar to that.
Yeah, it just looks. We're going to go on about it for pretty much every episode for the end of time. Is practical effects are so much better.
Yeah,
and I think I don't know if it's cost prohibitive, but I also heard somebody was saying they were talking to some producer on one of the shows I watched, and they think that just because it's newer, it's better.
Yeah,
which is stupid if that's the case. If it's money, I guess I at least understand it. But if it's just this looks better, but nobody thinks that.
Well, I also think it goes back to the directors and time frame, but also directors nowadays don't know how to use those practicals. They rather say, "Oh, we'll just put it in post."
Yeah.
And go about the day. And so where they would normally take maybe a week to do a shot, they can do it in 2 days and just put it in post, and it looks real enough to work. Where you would have had to work around, just doing those shots with those wax heads. How long do you think that took? That might have took 2 days of shooting to get all those done.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, it's way more work, and it's time is money, especially with the theaters not being as profitable as they were before.
Yeah, exactly.
This is another good example of. There's that famous quote from I believe it's Matt Damon. It came up about why
Matt Damon.
They don't make these middle range movies anymore. He says because the DVD sales aren't what they used to be.
Yeah.
Because if a movie that say costs $30 million in the theater, say when a movie comes out in a theater, the rule of thumb is it has to make double its budget because of marketing. So it has to make $60 million, but this isn't going to be some big blockbuster. But the way they used to do that was with the video rentals and stuff like that. But now that's not as much of a thing. So those are kind of gone. Movies like Demon Knight, which fit perfectly into that, they kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah. And then too, if they would have made Demon Knight nowadays, that it would have been straight to a Netflix release or something like that. Yeah. It probably would not even seen the light of day in a theater, and it probably wouldn't have been made anyway. To tell you the truth.
No, probably not. It's not as with the same sentiments.
No,
it'd be different. It'd be all. It would be. They are. I will give them credit. They're getting better they're kind of taking the politics back out of movies. Some directors are. If this is in the right hands, they can make a great sequel or series, I think. But it most likely, like you said, would be crap.
Oh yeah, we need to bring back Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, they would ruin that. Mel Brooks is still alive.
Oh yeah, Mel Brooks is still alive. They actually made History of the World Part 2.
Oh, a new one, right?
Yeah. They made it a series, if I remember right. Or maybe it was a movie.
I think it was Part 3. Wasn't there Part 2 back in the day? I've never seen those. Actually.
No, I think there was a 2. They were like joking about a 2 at the end of 1, but they never actually made it.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
But there's no way. I don't think you're going to be able to make a Mel Brooks movie ever again.
I mean, if he makes it and just tells him to go F off.
That's pretty much what he did. I think the last one he did was Men in Tights.
Maybe, yeah. No, he did that Dracula Dead and Loving It. After that,
oh, that's right. You're
96.
right. With Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think that was his. He may have done more, but that's the last one I remember.
Yeah.
But Demon Knight, yeah, like the story's pretty simple, and I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say.
It's a nice movie. It's not a blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's not like, but it fills a hole.
Oh yeah,
definitely. It's definitely a good watch for 100 and. No, wait, was it 1 hour and 20 minutes? 1 hour 30 minutes?
Oh, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's an hour and 30 minutes, but that's the other thing. Is actually the first thing that stuck out, but I forgot somehow. It says since it's Tales from the Crypt, it starts off with the Tales from the Crypt intro. You go down into the basement, and then it's like a totally different movie. It's like this really cheesy slasher movie with this like woman, like she's like not covered in blood. She got blood on her, and she's like in her bra and panties. And she's talking to her lover. She's like, "Yeah, I killed my husband. I can't wait to
gets turned on by killing the husband."
Yeah, do you basically? So then it goes and she gets in the tub and it's like blatant like nudity.
Yeah.
And then like it's a really cheesy like the body's like dissolving in acid and he gets up and kills her basically. But then the crypt keeper's like, "Cut!" And it's like that's the movie he's making, and then he introduces the actual movie, which is Tales from the Crypt.
And actually, the funny thing is that monster was played by
John Larroquette.
A very young John Larroquette, by the way.
Yeah, from there was some good banter and jokes in there, and like he's just basically making fun of his acting.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, but
it's definitely like a cameo for him.
Oh yeah,
because he's never in the movie anything after that.
I don't, not many at least. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I have. Do you have anything else on this one?
No, I think if you got a hour and a half to kill, it's something great to watch. If it's free to watch, even better.
Yeah.
I think you can find the DVD online or you can rent it on Netflix.
Yeah, you can YouTube, Netflix. My old disc I had was damaged, so I looked up a new copy and you get that and Bordello of Blood, which is not very good for $9. So you can't really beat the price. So, having just seen it again, if you would, I'm pretty sure I know you would recommend
definitely.
it.
I'd recommend it. Actually, I think I'm going to make my kids watch it. I don't think they've seen it, so I've been a bad father. So we're definitely going to be watching that with my kids.
Yeah, sit down. Yeah, I would. On my other podcast stuff, we talked about movies that no one has seen, and this is one of the ones I recommended. I can't talk about this movie enough. I love it. It's just awesome. Like it's so much fun. So, yeah. This is a Halloween episode. We might have another Halloween episode. We're trying to get it into works. We're going to see about how it fits in our schedule. But if anything else, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you in the next one.